look at my notes. Give me a second here. I'll run through this probably pretty quick. I do have a bunch of video from today. I'll be uploading that soon. They're pretty short. I mean, I could probably stitch them all together, and that's kind of what I was planning on doing, putting some filler things in between explanations. I got these 3 motions that I need to address. They're objections to our I'll get into it. I'll try not to bounce around. And then if anybody got any questions towards the end, I know it's late, it's a Monday night, but this is how it is. If you got any questions, let me know. Busy day. I haven't slept. I didn't sleep last night. I had some personal issues going on with the White Rose, if anyone knows what the White Rose is. We could talk about that sometime. There's some videos of me getting arrested for stickers, White Rose stickers. It was big during the COVID crisis, and it's a global mission, sticker mission. So last Friday, I got a call from the U.S. Marshals. I think I already posted the video. If not, it will be coming up, where I talked about talking to the marshals at the federal courthouse here in New Hampshire, and they were going to look into some stuff and then get back to me. So they called me Friday. They said, come down there and meet in person today. So I was down there. That will come up later. So that was that. And I had food poisoning. Not only was I dealing with this White Rose fiasco, drama, hostile takeover situation, but I had food poisoning. So I was up all night anyways. You know how that is. Hopefully not, but it's horrible. And so I'm operating off no sleep. So please forgive me. And when the videos come up too, I am a little slow in the videos. So this morning, so this is the thing. So last night, I lay down to go to bed at like 5 a.m. And then I realize as I'm laying down, I have court at 8. So I'm like, I can't go to sleep now. I won't wake up. And so I stayed up and I went to court at 8. That was for the default that I cleared. And I do have that on video. So ultimately it was scheduled for a sentencing hearing because I never got a sentencing hearing. It was taken under advisement, and then I didn't get any notice. They just put me in default with those 2 different defaults, right? Because of the whole registration situation. And so that I have some time to figure that out, right? And I will upload the video on that. I'm not going to bore you with all of it, but it was interesting because the judge noticed how I never got notice of the default, and I never got a sentencing hearing in the case. It was taken under advisement, everything came out, and then boom, they just wanted to like steamroll me. So I'm going to get that sentencing hearing. I'll record that. We'll see what goes on with it. It's she did actually lower it to $125, I believe, from $150. And I told her that I would do jail time if necessary. Constitutional freedom fighter, what's up, buddy? So there's that. I also went to the federal court, and then I went to the federal court. So after the court this morning, I went to the federal court to file for an extension of time to do our opposition to the the defendants, who is Governor Sununu and the AG and 72 state police officers who had me arrested and another woman arrested for saying amen, and then ripped a woman out of her chair, all that stuff. Hopefully you guys are familiar with that. Go see the New Hampshire 9 full context playlist if you're not familiar with this situation, because I won pro se in my 13-hour trial. If you haven't seen it, it's the first video linked, and it's not actually on my channel. There were two guys from Free Keene filming from either side of the court, and they edited it really good. But yeah, it was a 5-day, 13-hour trial. I mean, murder trials don't even go this long, for disorderly conduct. And I was found not guilty on 3 of the 4 counts. And I'm appealing it still. And it's a similar situation with where that other judge is not providing a written decision. So a different judge in this New Hampshire 9 case, with the one guilty that I had, he's refusing to provide a written decision. So I'm going to hit him with a Rule 11 after I handle the first situation. So at the federal court, I was looking on the docket report, and the defendants filed objections to our motion to compel discovery, our motion for default, and to find them in default of not responding on June 10th. They didn't respond until June 30th, 20 days later. And then we filed a motion to extend the service time for the new defendants, and they're objecting to that, even though they don't represent these defendants. And I'm going to do a deep dive on this whole situation, but it's funny because they initiated service waivers on behalf of us plaintiffs on other defendants who hadn't been served at the beginning in order to manipulate the court to give them more time. Now they're doing the opposite and saying they can't accept service on the unserved defendants. Meanwhile, they're arguing on their behalf. No, I am not a lawyer, but I've won pro se 1983s, and I represent myself in court all the time, and I represent other people in court. So that's another thing, another video that's going to be coming up. I represented my buddy, it's not over, at a hearing, and got into it with the final boss. So that's coming up. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me get through this. I got distracted with the question. So they filed 3 motions, and I filed 1 motion. I filed a motion to extend our time to, I think I said that, boom, boom, boom. So I'm going to have to respond to all of this, and, you know, I'll get into it. I'll do another video. Go see the other ones. You can follow the case on Court Listener, download all the documents. Most of the documents in this case should be available for download. So after I went and filed that at the federal court, so this is all today. I did all this. I went to the New Hampshire Supreme Court to get the clerk's email, because I called and they said they couldn't give that over the phone. I went to the website and searched for, you know, that has all the state personnel and their contact information, everything. There's nothing for this guy, absolutely nothing. So I have it's only like a 5-minute video, but he's like, you can't record it here. Meanwhile, I've been there a dozen times and not had any issues. And he's the one that wrote this, well, he signed off and attested to this administrative order that's being used in all the courts across the state to prohibit filming, even though there's no crime and there's no penalty involved and there's no way to enforce it. And so I talked to him about that, and you guys will see that video soon. I did get his email. I tried to get him to tell me stuff. He's like, this isn't an interview. I'm like, you're my substitute and agent at all times, accountable to me under Part 1, Article 8 of the New Hampshire Constitution. And so he didn't like any of that. He doesn't like the transparency. Clearly, he's like putting up his paper to try to cover the camera and all that jazz. So that's going to be a fun little video. We'll do a premiere. We'll have a live chat for that. And then I was on my way to lunch and I got a call back. I called to start an investigation on when I went to represent my buddy at the final boss video, right? So the final boss gets checked. That guy, his name is Mac. I want to say Richard Mack. And he went from petty tyrant to full-blown tyrant in like an instant. And so another one of the court officers said, "You won't be representing him today." And I'm like, how the hell does he even know I'm representing him? They must have seen the motions and it must have been talked about. And so I did represent him, and we're going back for another 90 minutes. So I'm going to wait. It's going to be a little while before you guys get to see that. Maybe I'll put some teasers out. We'll see. But it's juicy. And there's an ongoing investigation, so I really don't want to spoil that. I just sent the videos, all the videos, to the investigator. And he was like, when I talked to him on the phone, he was like, if he said that, you're not representing him, that is unacceptable and that's not okay. And that's called official oppression, and it's called breaking the law. So there's an ongoing investigation in that. Boop, boop, boop. There was other issues as well. And it was all documented, of course, because I was recording. So video statements. I need to send statements from me and my buddy that I was representing. And I hate to say it, but the next hearing on that, the 90-minute hearing, is July 24th. And that is because we filed motions to dismiss and motions for sanctions and all this stuff. And the deadline for this person to respond would be that day. So if they don't respond by that day, it's game over, and it's not going to be good for them. We are planning defamation case on them as well. So, FAFO. Next, I went to lunch. Finally, after I got off the phone, I went to the Works. I give it 5 stars. Really good place. I had a sunrise burrito and a Big Mac mac and cheese. So it's like a Big Mac and cheese, not a Big Mac. Definitely check it out if you're ever in Concord. It's called The Works. Really delicious. So then I went to the State House because it was right there, and I had business to conduct. What was my business? Well, I already have a pre-existing investigation. It's related to the filming in the federal court lobby. It's my argument that's going to be argued for the first time in federal court about RSA 123.1. And that's about how the federal government gets jurisdiction, lawful jurisdiction, and tax exemption on lands that they acquire here in New Hampshire. They've never complied with it, so that it's been 142 years of non-compliance by the federal government with this state statute that gets them tax exemption. And there is a New Hampshire Supreme Court case called Newington versus Campanella that backs it up. Okay, they said that it's all New Hampshire territory and they were liable for the taxes. So I did an estimate on all the federal properties and the values of them and whatnot, and the federal government owes us, the state of New Hampshire, us approximately 125 billion with a B, in back taxes. So this is a big deal, and I wrote a legislative briefing, and I have a comprehensive, I put that in the comments, I put the comprehensive RSA 123.1 analysis that I wrote. I've been working on this for over 2 years, okay? And it's the implications of the outcome are vast. So lots of cases could get flipped, and my case for the conviction, right, for recording in the lobby of the federal court, that could also, that it's done. It's done. And so, wait till you hear. There's more on the filming in the federal court lobby that I'm about to report. That is not, we don't have on video. I did do a little explanation right after it happened so I could have it fresh in my memory. But so I went to the state house to figure out how I can get these packets. I have 427 manila envelopes. I think it's like 4 cardboard boxes full of packets for the 400 reps, the senators, what is it, 20 senators, 10 senators maybe, and the executive council and the governor, right? So the House, Senate, Executive Council, and the governor. And I have one for the Secretary of State, of course. But he's already aware of this because I sent him a 91A request, which is like the state level FOIA. And so this is the right to know law based off of Part 1, Article 8 of the New Hampshire Constitution, the accountability of magistrates and officers, etc. So, lost my train of thought. So I got the boxes of files of the packets, and I don't, it's going to be a lot to mail all that. So I asked if I could just drop them off. So the House, the Senate, the Executive Council, and the Governor's office will just take them. No special anything. There was a whole form that I had to fill out to request permission to put these in the 400 state reps boxes, mailboxes at the state house. And so I did email that back to her earlier tonight. And I should hear back in the morning. I'm hoping. I want to deliver them all at once to everybody at the state house. If anybody is watching or watches later, hit me up if you want to help carry some of the boxes. And it'd be nice if I had somebody else to record, third person, while this all goes down, because I want to talk to the people that I'm giving this stuff to. I already heard back from the Secretary of State. Oh yeah, the right to know request. Sorry. He is supposed to have a certified statement about the 142 years of non-compliance by the United States of America with our law, New Hampshire RSA 123.1, which must be followed pursuant to 40 USC Section 3112. 40 USC Section 3112 states explicitly that the federal government does not have jurisdiction. It's assumed not to have jurisdiction until they comply with the state session statute, which in New Hampshire's case is RSA 123.1. So the wording of the law in your state, if you're out of state, is going to be something along the lines of acquisition of lands by the United States of America and maybe some other stuff. Search your state statutes, your code for that to find out. Then ask your, do your right to know request or whatever the equivalent is in your state, and ask if the federal government has ever complied. Have the Secretary of State do a records search. They'll search the archives. I already have a certified document, but I asked them to do a more extensive search about it, right? It's not a FOIA. It's different on the state level. FOIA is only federal stuff. I am going to be filing a FOIA. I'll get into that after. It's like the last thing that we're going to discuss when I met up with the U.S. Marshals about my phone and recording in the lobby. So the legislative briefing I have in the packets, $125 billion in back taxes. This is connected to my First Circuit appeal on the filming the lobby thing, right? And Newington v. Campanella. You can look that case up. It's not very long. It backs up this whole thing. Not only does that case law back up my argument that you'll read in the analysis linked below, but I have the proof from the Secretary of State already showing that they've never complied. And so it's kind of like a done deal. We just got to get the reps and the rest of our public servants to do what they need to do. Like the AG needs to go after the feds for these back taxes and everything. And it's a pretty big deal, especially if this starts getting replicated in other states. Okay. And so, yeah, over 2+ years research on this situation, and I'm assuming some other states may be in a similar situation. Most of the Western states probably are, you know, they've done whatever they need to do, but the original states, which were the colonies, like New Hampshire, it's going to be different. So New England, East Coast, you know, down south, probably with that state statute. And so this is last but not least, the U.S. Marshals meeting. Really cool. If you haven't seen the Right to Record Filming in Federal Court playlist, go watch that. And there's a video after my phone got stolen during trial. I go back there and I talk to this big tall guy, right, U.S. Marshal. He came out, he was talking to me out in front of the courthouse, and really cool, reasonable fella. And he was like, Mr. Staples, you're making a lot of sense right now. And so I went, talked to the chief last week. The other guy called me back Friday, and I met up with him. And so I'll call him the tall guy and the short guy. It's Chris, and the other guy's name is slipping my mind. But the tall guy and the short guy gave me some research highlighted about the facility. It's all publicly available. They're like, this is all publicly available, whatever. But they did take the time to print it up and highlight certain things and tell me what's going on, because it's two different buildings that are connected, and the only way into the other federal building, which is not a courthouse, is through the courthouse. And they're applying courthouse rules on this federal building. Yes, the marshal did that. Two of them. I've talked to them, you know, three of them I've talked. The chief and these two guys are mostly who I've dealt with, and they're freaking really cool. I wish I could have had it on video. You can see him in the other videos, the marshals. They're different from the CSOs, the court security officers, but they agree. They literally, so he tacitly agrees with me on video out in front of the courthouse. Today, of course, I don't have it on video, but, you know, Scout's honor, he said, he kind of cut off the other guy. He said, Mr. Staples, no, you're right. I agree with you 100%. The way they're applying it, and it's a problem also for security, because all those other people in that court building and the people going to it, I mean, not the court building, the James C. Cleveland Federal Building that can only be accessed through the court, even the staff don't like to have to go through, and it's a security issue. There are other security issues as well that they're aware of and that were discussed, that I clearly saw myself, that is pretty serious for a federal courthouse. After we elucidated that, who knows what might happen. But I'm assuming they might actually take action. Part of the problem that they said with having a security entering through, you know, having an entrance through the other building, which they used to have, so I don't know how they did it before. I just thought of that. he said, well, we only have the one set of the one checkpoint, right, at the courthouse, and so it would be a lot of money to have to put 2 checkpoints, one there and one there. And I'm not even saying the courthouse has to have its own public entrance. They could close it like they did to the James C. Cleveland building and have it more secure, so there would be no going in from the street. You would have to go through the James C. Cleveland building instead. Okay, you would have to pass through their security. Then you would go down the annex that connects the 2 buildings, and in that annex would be another security checkpoint to get into the courthouse. That's how it should be done. And the marshals agreed with me on that as well. What they're saying is it's considered a complex because of the annex that was built about 25 years ago. And so backwards, clearly they did this backwards so they could have more stringent recording and access by making it only accessible through a court building to get to the other federal building. So it's a problem, and they agree. And so the next step is a FOIA request, and I'm going to be requesting redacted versions of the actual policy that they have there. This is going to be helpful for my appeal, hopefully. It's going to, it's going to be helpful either way. I don't know exactly what it says, but you never know what it might say in there. There might be a smoking gun that totally backs up what I've been saying this whole time, that we're allowed to film, because it's a dual-use entrance. It's an entrance not only to the courthouse, which is what I've been saying, it's also the entrance to the other federal building. And so you can't apply more stringent security measures on the people that are trying to go to that building by forcing them to go through the courthouse security. That's basically that. The bigger argument is the 123.1 no jurisdiction argument. So RSA 123.1 is how the federal government gets lawful jurisdiction on the lands that they acquire. Currently, without compliance with the state statute, they only have proprietary jurisdiction and control over these federal properties. They don't have lawful jurisdiction, and they don't have tax exemption, which has already been proven in Newington versus Campanella. So because it's the 2 things are in the one statute, it's already been proven in Newington versus Campanella that they don't have tax exemption because it's all New Hampshire territory. That means it says at the bottom of it, exclusive New Hampshire jurisdiction until the federal government complies with the statute. So they don't have lawful jurisdiction, in the first element of the crime of disobeying an order to stop filming in the lobby is that it happened on federal property, not just proprietary property, lawful federal property. So that's the gist of my appeal argument. And yeah, so in the video, I did some nice close-ups of this so you guys can get like screen grabs of what the marshals gave me. I do have a video that I shot outside, level 5 facilities, campuses, complexes, and federal centers, and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't say anything about prohibited items and this and that. And so it will give me some insight, I'm sure. And it's got they gave me the 41 CFR Part 102 through 81. So they gave me all these statutes highlighted. It's a few pages. I zoomed in on everything for you guys on the other video, so you can check that out later. And yeah, very interesting developments here. Very promising, I would say. And yeah, I mean, eventually, if this case gets flipped, it's going to be a slam dunk 1983 case, I think. So the only other thing that I haven't talked about that I forgot was that I went into the I was walking when I was doing all this stuff at the State House. I saw the Legislative Research Office, and I said, I've never been in here. I want to know what's going on in there. And so I went in there, spoke to this wonderful young lady, and she was extremely helpful. I told her all about the packets that I had, and I was like, could I just send these to you and get you guys researching on this, or how does this work? Basically, they do research for the House, for the legislators, and the legislators and the committees send them the stuff that they want them to research. So the legislators don't even do their own research, which is kind of funny to me. And but she was very helpful. She had heard of me. I introduced myself, Frank Staples, former candidate. I ran for governor in 2024. She was enthusiastic and genuine and extremely helpful. She actually made me stay and to give me the contact for my reps in my district to give them and talk to them about this back taxes 123.1 situation, which would save the state budget as well, because we are in a budget crisis here in New Hampshire. So yeah, busy day, long day, super tired. And I mean, it's crazy. Got a lot of shit going on. So if you guys got any questions, I'm going to go through the chat. I'll start talking to people. That's basically it for the war report for today. Boo, boo, boo. Stuck into the courthouse. Yeah, it is. It is a trap. Exactly. Constitutional freedom fighter. They set it up this way, but it's crazy because they created this security threat by preferring to, prohibit people's ability to record in that federal building, which is supposed to be allowed, but there's no way to do it because they don't let you get any electronics or phones through the court security. All right. So, and Amber, I'm not a lawyer. I'm better than a lawyer. I make lawyers win. I win without a lawyer. And I can do things that lawyers can't do. So I'm better than a lawyer. Absolutely. Lawyers will never fight like you will. And maybe there's a few that will fight like I do, but very few and far between. And I mean, I highly doubt they could fight as good as you could for your own situation. Like, people need to just do the research as needed. You don't need to learn everything all at once. You do the research as needed per the situation that arises, right? You do want to do pre-research, especially if you're planning on doing some of the things that I do, getting yourself arrested intentionally to get the standing to challenge in court. Yeah, you definitely want to be doing pre-research about stuff like that. So, Bethany Johnson, I'm good. Thank you. And thank you for the question, Amber. Appreciate that. D. Cruz, they always hate being recorded. That's right. I mean, it's pretty crazy how, I can go in the State House and do this. And they were a little uncomfortable at first, but they know it's allowed and people are recording in there all the time. But when it's some unknown coming in there to record, because some state workers, many of them in some cases, treat the public like crap. They treat the public like crap, and especially at court. So if you're not recording, you need to conduct yourself accountability too. Like, you need to be rational and reasonable. I am. I don't get hot until I'm triggered. Okay? I don't get hot until I know that something already happened and my rights were violated. Otherwise, yeah, I call people, sir. I'm a respectful person. I call, hey, sir, ma'am, how you doing? I have manners. And just because I'm talking to a cop or a public servant doesn't mean I'm going to be antagonistic. I'm not that way. They're people. People are people. Okay, so think smart, think strategically, think long term. Hey, you just gotta decruise. I mean, you gotta dig into the law books. I don't know if you've ever been to jail or prison, but go to your local law library and ask the law librarian. Typically, your public library will have some stuff, but there's usually a state law library that you can go to, and they're pretty amazing. And the law librarians tend to be very helpful because nobody ever goes there, and so they're like starving for attention and interaction and something to do. So check out your state Supreme Court law library. That's what it is here. um yeah, lunch is good, right? Lunch is good, but yeah, takes a lot of studying, and you'll learn. And all this stuff, as you learn the law, it's logical, and things just fall they come together, and start, like, this puzzle starts to form, and then the things that you learn in one area typically transfer to another area. I always recommend the In a Nutshell series. There's a whole legal series of books called In a Nutshell, and I mean, they got a book on everything, and they're small, but they are jam packed, bullet points, and breaking it down and giving you legal principles that you can. That's how I won my beard lawsuit, was with this expressio unius est exclusio alterius argument. I'll have to share that sometime, and I'll share the video of me getting pepper sprayed in my cell for 9 seconds with a crowd control can, in solitary confinement, and then they left me there for hours, and I still refuse to cuff up. I don't have all of it on video. There's just a small clip of it, but yeah, I mean, I got legendary status amongst the cops, the guards rather. After that, oh, what's going on here? Yep. All right, FOIA, gigolo everywhere I go. Girls stopping me. Bad news, VA, North Carolina. What's up? Gigolo J, how's it going? Toot toot toot. Yeah, so the Marshal did that. The Marshal did that. Really cool. You guys got to go back and watch that whole playlist about the federal court filming the lobby situation. Like, I executed that plan to perfection. The fourth stage, I predicted it from the beginning. I predicted all the stages, and then I implemented all the stages successfully all the way up to the fourth stage, which was filming in the court. Yes, they stole my phone, and they still have my phone after 14 months. But I achieved the mission, and I did what everybody said I wasn't going to do. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to kick you. It's cool. I don't, I'm pretty laid back as long as people aren't being disruptive, right? If you're not being a troll, joking around, having fun, share your ideas. I am a free speech absolutist. Of course, YouTube's going to censor us, so you got to watch. I try to be family friendly, even though I do swear sometimes. Hola, Mr. Dolly. What do you got? You got a question? Constitutional Freedom Fighter. Let's go. It's going to be coming up. Anything to up the anxiety. Yeah, I crack smiles. I like jokes. I can be I think I'm pretty funny at times. Sometimes I crack myself up, to be quite frank. Can I call you later this week? Yes. Give me a ring. Let me know if do you have my number. If not, you can get it from Catherine, or just shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. For sure, give me a ring. Wants to get me on a podcast. Yeah, I'm down. Let's talk about it. Let's get the word out. So I appreciate you, Bad News VA, North Carolina. What is my name? Hey, what's going on, bro? You made it. How can we get the budget fixed? Boom. Well, we go after the feds for the $125 billion in back taxes, and renegotiate at the very least, the payment in lieu of taxes is called PILT payments, sometimes pilot payments, that we are getting. It's like this like crumbs. We're getting these crumbs here in New Hampshire per acre for all this land. It's called payment in lieu of taxes because we're not supposed to be able to tax them. But we can tax them if they're not in compliance with RSA 123.1, which they are not. And so they owe us 142 years of back taxes. I put an 8% compound interest, right, for penalty, and it comes out to 125 billion. So even if we take that 8% off, I haven't calculated it. I should do that. I will do that now, thinking about it. Not now in my head, but because it'll be 142 years at 8%. It's still going to be billions of dollars. You know what I mean? That they owe the state. And so that one thing is literally a panacea. The plan that I have actually will eliminate property taxes. So if this is even halfway true and viable with this tax situation and the non-compliance and going after the feds for owing us for not complying with our laws, the AG has a duty to enforce all laws, etc., and for the public welfare. So that will eliminate property taxes completely. Lower all the business enterprise tax, business profits tax, and little things like registration fees and stuff like that out the window. We don't need that no more. And then we'll have a surplus. So we'll have a huge surplus. We can fix all the deficient bridges and the 14 red bridges. There's a lot more than, but 14 of them are like blocked off and you can't even use them. They're in such disrepair. We could fix all the bridges, which is what they're supposed to be doing, the roads and the bridges, right? All those potholes that we have and other issues. Of course, no. What are they doing? They are funding foreign conflicts that aren't wars, that are called wars, that have, no authorization from Congress. And so that's my ideas for the budget, is this 123.1 situation and recovering the back taxes. And any idea for New Hampshire dollars? Yeah, I got the granite bucks. It's on my website. The granite bucks idea is a gold-backed note that's redeemable through the state. Out-of-staters, they get taxed a small percentage if they want to redeem, but they could get the paper version, 0% tax, and then just keep the money and use it for when they come back on vacation and stuff. So we would be going back to a gold standard, and in the interim we would immediately implement gold backs, using gold backs and accepting gold, silver, crypto, precious metals. Part of my Granite Bucks program is not just gold and silver notes, which are redeemable, platinum and whatnot, but we would have non-redeemable nuclear notes, and we would have to have an auditable, we have nuclear stuff here in New Hampshire, so we could totally have that in a vault. I also want to do a vault built into the side of a mountain, a granite vault, because they took down the old vault that they used to use here. It was just torn down fairly recently. And I think we need a big vault, and we need to load it up with gold, silver, platinum, and nuclear material, because part of my governor run for 2026, yes, I am running again in 2026, is expanded nuclear, small nuclear reactor, whatever makes sense, and none of those wind farms, no geoengineering, but I am pro-nuclear and hydropower as well. We have lots of water. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing hydropower here, and then we should be selling it to all the surrounding areas, all that extra electricity. Plus, crypto mining, and the current governor, they passed a thing about the state acquiring cryptocurrency and whatnot. And so she's already paving the way for me. And thank you for implementing things from my platform. I appreciate that. It's making my job easier from when I defeat you, Kelly Ayotte, in 2026. Oh, that reminds me, bonus round. I asked for a public retraction for her defamatory statements referencing me as a conspiracy theorist when Chuck Morse is the one that called her out on the YDC thing, which was my... I've been for the past 3 years now exposing, doing rallies. We're going to have some more rallies coming up as well on that. And she called me a conspiracy theorist, and Chuck Morse not only called her out during the debate, and then she mentions me by name when I was excluded from the debate. Yeah, this is going to be another lawsuit. It's a defamation lawsuit, and I'm going to be suing the GOP for excluding me from the debate. And New Hampshire Journal, heads up, New Hampshire Journal, you better start writing some good articles about me so I don't sue you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still going to sue you. And yeah, that's coming down the pike. I'll try to time it strategically. Boop, boop, boop. So the Granite Bucks, go to my website if you guys are interested in that. If you're not there, if somebody can put it in, Frank N as in Nancy Staples.org. Frank N Staples.org. I've written a ton of articles. I haven't done any new ones, but I have a bunch of material that I'm getting ready to launch. I've been too busy. I've been too busy to deal with website management, and I am working on getting someone to manage the website and revamp it. I did everything myself, so I think it came out pretty good, but it could be better. It definitely could be better, I believe, and everything could always be better. Yes, it still ends in 8. It's still the same number. I mean, everybody has my number at this point, right? It's not hard to find. I'm pretty, I don't know what you call it, open about not really caring and bleeping stuff out and hiding the whatever. Like, I've gotten some prank calls. I've definitely gotten some prank calls, and they come in like waves and stuff, but I'm a pretty hard person to troll. Get rid of toll roads. Yeah, I agree, because that money is supposed to be going, I know, I'm sure they probably changed it to where it's going to all different types of things, but it's supposed to be fixing the roads and the bridges, and clearly they're not doing that. And they're not even open at night. They don't even, you go through it and then you get a ticket in the mail, and then you got to pay extra because there's nobody working the thing for people who don't have the Easy Pass, which is tracking you. And we have Part 1, Article 2B, the right to privacy, which was an amendment to the New Hampshire Constitution in 2018, I believe. And we need to do some more on that and follow through and get rid of all the surveillance, automated plate readers, all the cameras up and down the highway. Yeah, no, I'm not cool with all that. Thorium molten salt. We can have thorium salt notes. You know, I don't know the value of like a gram of thorium salt. Like, how much is a gram of thorium salt worth, right? So maybe a fraction of that is worth a whole bunch. Maybe a gram's worth $10,000. I don't know. So those would be like big time notes, heavy duty notes, I'm assuming, because I would imagine nuclear material is pretty expensive. I am going after her for defamation. Absolutely. She already knows. I put her on notice. Oh, and how about this? The media. I had a media blackout on my campaign, and I have proof, and it's potentially election interference. You may watch my channel. Damian Fisher from New Hampshire Journal, the same ones who hosted the private GOP debate. Oh my God. When I was on the ballot as a GOP member, along with another guy, they excluded me and Sean Fife. So so Damian Fisher, I saw an article about when Chuck Morris called out Ayotte I posted on my Facebook page, I posted the thing that I sent to him for the retraction or correction, because he totally cuts out like what she said after Morse challenged her on the YDC stuff, on her record on the YDC stuff. He totally cuts out any mention of my name in the conspiracy. He leaves it out. And she wasn't even responding to Chuck. She was responding to me at a previous Chester event on June 21st when I asked a question. All I did was ask a question, and she's trying to say it was a statement and it was a conspiracy theory. When I asked, what was the question I asked? What are you going to do about the inevitable bankruptcy, her or Chuck, the inevitable bankruptcy of the state because of the YDC sex abuse scandal, right? Crickets. They didn't know what to do. And at this point, the budget crisis, which it's the elephant in the room that they're not talking about, or the gorilla in the room, however you want to look at it. Having a brain fart. Totally having a brain fart. What was I talking about? So the defamation. Damian Fisher. So Damian Fisher article, it's against the journalistic ethics and it's potentially election interference for cutting without putting brackets in there, which is showing that he admitted stuff, right? He just put it like it was the natural thing and no link to the video or anything. And so I'm excluded from a debate as a candidate, and then she gets to call me out by name during the debate and I'm not there to respond. What kind of crap is that? So yeah, that's called defamation, and it's defamation per se. So I am sending her, Kelly Ayotte, a thing to retract her statement. Otherwise, I'm going to be filing a lawsuit. I've already been preparing it. So hopefully she does just simply retract it and then negate the possibility. In good faith, I'm going to give her a chance to retract and clarify her statement during the debate. And yeah, we'll see. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. YDC bankruptcy. Yep, I wrote an article about it. And like the fund is like all dried up. So Lisa Johnson, good to see you. Anybody else? Thank you. What is my name, bro? Appreciate you. So if anyone else has any other questions, definitely go read my website there. Great to see you in the chat. Thank you. Great to see everybody in the chat. It's always fun. I know it's late night, and oh my goodness. But yeah, that's it. Oh, looks like we just cut in and out real quick. And so yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, it's been about an hour. I think that's pretty good. The last live was probably a bit too long, though it was very fun and we covered a lot of ground on that. If you guys like these lives, let me know in the comments and I'll try to do more of them to update you. And I will be doing, maybe I can do lives when I do the deep dives. I'll do them. What's the best time? Also, if you guys can comment the best time for you. I can look at the analytics. I already did. It's like 2 in the afternoon is a pretty good time typically. But all these different cases, to just focus on one case at a time, basically the New Hampshire 9 lawsuit and the appeal for the filming in the lobby situation. It's a lot to it. I can link all the filings and all that, and yeah, that's it. So good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yep.